787 in your text.
They're coming.
Absorption of what? Water. What about absorption of carbs, lipids, proteins? Bingo, small intestine. The only absorption you're doing here in the large intestine, water. Okay, we're dehydrating, drying out those feces. All the business of absorbing nutrients was taking place back in the small intestine. Bacteria actually lives here. We call it our own flora. You have your own garden, so to speak, inside your large intestine. This bacteria actually helps to manufacture vitamins for it. Notice the two in specific are vitamins B and K. They actually manufacture these vitamins based on the foods that you eat. These bacteria love green leafy vegetables. They love beans and things of that sort. The more that you send them, the more they make their vitamins, and the more you have gas. So the next time you have gas, just tell your friends, it's okay, I'm just making vitamins. Because that's actually what's going on.
So just the large intestine B and K.
Just the large intestine B and K. You probably know that taking antibiotics wreaks havoc on these bacteria. It actually kills them off as well. And if you're female, that sets you up for things like yeast infections. So anybody can benefit from taking live culture yogurt during antibiotic treatment because it helps to replenish your own natural flora so you can continue making vitamins B and K. And so in females, it also helps to get rid of yeast infections because the balance in the vaginal area is all about keeping bacteria and yeast in check. One keeps the other from outgrowing the area. So, at any rate, there's your tidbit of trivia for the day. The major job of your large intestine is also to produce feces and eliminate them from our body through defecation. What do feces contain?
Water, mucus, bacteria, everything that we take in, I guess.
Yes, the gross stuff, right?
And the gross stuff.
What you can't break down is undigestible food waste.
Residual stuff.
Yeah, residual stuff. Yeah, we can't break down green leafy vegetable walls. We don't have cellulase to break down cellulose. So plant fibers form a large portion of our feces. You're right, bacteria, mucus, water, of course, helps to form that feces as well. The brown color is interesting because it comes from the breakdown of bile. Bile breakdown makes your poop appear brown. Other colors like gray or white is a warning sign. That especially is of consideration for somebody who is jaundicing as well. So light-colored poop is not necessarily something to be proud of. Get the light-colored poop checked out. Okay. Little babies may have light-colored poop. Their body doesn't really process and produce bile like an adult would. But an adult, white or gray-colored poop is a big warning sign that something's going on. I want to talk to you about the three major types of motion in your large intestine. Back in the small, we talked about peristalsis and segmentation. Here, it's all about peristalsis. If you think about the name haustral contraction, all we're doing is moving feces from one haustra to the next haustra about every 30 minutes. So it's like a little conveyor belt. I love your concept of waste management. It is a conveyor belt that kind of squeezes and moves that undigested food waste from one organ to the next every 30 minutes. Okay, so the function here is to propel those feces toward the anus.
Or to move feces from one hospital to another to the...
Yes, you're moving it from one hospital to the next with your ultimate goal of reaching the rectum and anus, exactly.
So is the feces now, when did it stop being charmed?
Probably in the small intestine. By the time we left the small intestine, it's no longer...
It's going to absorb?
Yes, absorbed. So by the time we start the large intestine, that's where I hear them start calling it feces. Sure. The function of the haustral contractions is to move undigested food from one haustra to the next. To move undigested food from one haustra to the next with the goal of reaching the anus. movements have a bigger job. They occur 3 to 4 times every day. Their job is to make large-scale motions of the large intestine. What do you think the goal is here?
Elimination.
Yeah, get it out. So mass movements propel these feces in mass toward the rectum and anus. Alright, so normally we've got the rectum up top here, and then here we have the anal canal in the anus. So I want to talk to you about the defecation reflex real briefly. Normally the rectum is empty. When the rectum is empty, we have 2 sphincters. You'll notice this sphincter here is called the internal sphincter. It is involuntary. You have this one out here. Guess what it's called? External. So when your rectum is currently sitting empty, the internal involuntary sphincter is
Restricted.
closed. Closed. What does that do for you?
Keeps you from pooping.
Keeps you from, yeah, keeps you from sliding on out. During a mass movement, we have a portion of feces that enters into the rectum. There are parasympathetic nerve fibers that travel to your brain. Parasympathetic nerve fibers, you might recall, are involved in rest and digest. So at that point, it opens up that internal sphincter, and now you control what's going on. But if the internal sphincter is open, you close the external ones. You consciously have to control them. So at the point that you're having a mass movement, internal sphincter opens, you close the external sphincter. Only when you find it to be a convenient time do you open the external sphincters and allow it to leave. Or if you're a little kid or an older person who had ill-res bowel control, it comes out anyway, right? So it takes good nervous system control to control that external sphincter. That's why it takes several years for little kids to gain bowel control, and then as we age, this is the sad part of life, right? You lose that nervous system control over that external sphincter. So after you eliminate the feces, the rectum is then again empty, the external sphincters are open, and the internal sphincter stays closed. So you'll notice that it's actually opposite depending on whether or not your rectum is empty or full. I also wanted to mention to you something not shown in this picture. There's actually these things called rectal valves that are pieces of the lining of the mucosa that stick up into the rectum. So when you pass gas, the solid stuff doesn't come out, but the air can pass through. So they're like little gates that keep the poop from being, you know the word, coming on out, right? So instead of having everything start for the motion here, it just lets the gas out rather than everything else. Internal hemorrhoids, external hemorrhoids, you've got a lot of blood vessels in this submucosal layer. So of course a lot of stress and pressure as you're trying to produce a bowel movement can actually kind of herniate or rupture those through that mucosal lining. So that's what we think of as these external and internal hemorrhoids. And there you go, for the picture for the day. Alright, so I've got a couple of disorders down here on the bottom for you, and I thought I'd just take you on a brief tour of the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder for just a moment. Let's take a look at 99. These are accessory organs. The pancreas starts on 776. You'll notice the pancreas sits wedged behind the stomach. It's nestled here against your small intestine. Specifically, that's the duodenum. We've already talked about the pancreas back in a previous chapter. What did the pancreas release in chapter 16? Insulin and glucagon. So those two hormones control blood sugar. Good. So it has an exocrine function and it also has an endocrine function. The endocrine function is releasing insulin and glucagon, whereas exocrine, of course, is going to be involved in the digestive system. So on your worksheet there are those pancreatic islets, you might recall, release insulin and glucagon. Since you've got this picture on your worksheet, I wanted to talk to you about how we get those substances from the pancreas into the duodenum. As you probably would expect, this is hormonally controlled. We'll talk about the hormones in just a minute. But you can see, here sits the pancreas. There's a main pancreatic duct. There's also an accessory one that would come along through here. They join together with that common bile duct. So, all of those fluids from both liver, gallbladder, and pancreas enter into the duodenum through one little opening. The sphincter sitting right here regulates the passage of those fluids into the duodenum, and that ampulla is just the fattened area where the sphincter exists. So into the duodenum, we're going to dump substances that break